Welcome to Convergent Chronicles, where history intersects with science, technology, and world events. Your destination for exploring global history through concurrent events, advancements in science and technology, and significant world happenings. I don't think people understand how interconnected our ancient myths and modern discoveries really are. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of giants and beings that might be interpreted as aliens, as mentioned in various holy books and ancient texts. It's like all these stories from different cultures and times, they all seem to have these recurring themes of beings coming down from the stars or these massive creatures walking the earth. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. We're going to be looking at some really cool stuff like ancient Sumerian tablets, the Bible, the Quran, even Norse mythology and Native American legends. Trust me, you're going to be hooked. So buckle up and get ready to explore the mysteries of giants and aliens in ancient texts. Let's go. Okay, so let's kick things off with the Bible. Now, everyone knows Goliath, right? The giant that David fought? Well, turns out he wasn't the only giant hanging around. The Bible mentions several groups of giants, like the Nephilim, who were said to be the offspring of sons of God and daughters of men. Pretty mysterious, right? Some people believe these sons of God could have been divine beings, maybe even aliens. Then there are the Anakim, described as these massive, intimidating warriors. The Israelites were actually terrified of them. Imagine coming face to face with one of those guys. And let's not forget the Rephaim, another group of giants said to be so tall and strong that they made normal humans look like, well, ants. They were like the OG giants, even mentioned in stories about King Og of Bashan. Now the big question is, were these giants just really, really tall people or something more? Some people believe these giants were the result of divine intervention, like maybe angels mating with humans. Others think they could be evidence of ancient astronauts visiting Earth and maybe, messing around a bit. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, right? It's interesting to think about how these stories might have been influenced by actual encounters with beings that were just so technologically advanced, they seemed like gods or giants to the people back then. Whatever the truth is, the Bible is definitely full of these intriguing stories about giants that make you wonder what was really going on back then. Now, moving on from the Bible, let's take a look at another major religious text, the Quran. It doesn't really talk about giants in the same way as the Bible, but it does mention some pretty interesting beings called the Jinn. The Jinn are kind of like spirits, or supernatural creatures, that can be good or evil. They're made of smokeless fire, which is pretty cool, and they have free will, just like humans. But what's really interesting is that the Quran also mentions a type of jinn called the Marid, who are known for their immense strength and power. Some scholars believe these Marid could be what other cultures might interpret as giants. It's fascinating how different cultures have their own interpretations of these powerful beings, and how they might be connected in ways we don't fully understand yet. Speaking of powerful beings, the Quran also tells the story of Gog and Magog. Now, these guys aren't exactly giants, but they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. They're described as these barbaric tribes who cause chaos and destruction wherever they go. Some Islamic scholars believe Gog and Magog could be symbolic of the destructive forces in the world, kind of like, the ultimate bad guys. Others think they might represent specific groups of people or even, get this, alien invaders. The story goes that a great wall was built to keep Gog and Magog contained, and their eventual release is supposed to signal the end times. It's like something straight out of a Marvel movie, right? But again, it's really interesting to see how these ancient texts use stories like this to explain complex ideas about good and evil, and maybe even warn about potential threats, whether they're from this world or beyond. Okay, so we're diving into the Book of Enoch now, right? It's like this ancient Jewish text, not technically part of the Bible, but super interesting. It tells the story of Enoch, this righteous dude who walked with God. But here's where it gets wild. We get introduced to these beings called the Watchers. The Watchers were these angels, right? But they got a bit, rebellious. They left heaven, disobeyed God, and came down to earth. And it wasn't just a quick visit. These guys stuck around, and they started messing things up. They taught humans forbidden knowledge like magic and warfare. Imagine celestial beings sharing secrets they weren't supposed to. It's like giving a kid the keys to the spaceship way before they're ready. The Book of Enoch really paints a picture of this cosmic drama, this clash between good and evil, obedience and rebellion. And the Watchers, they're right in the middle of it all. And then there's the Nephilim. Now these guys are the offspring of the Watchers and human women. Yeah, you heard that right. Angels and humans mixing it up. The Book of Enoch describes the Nephilim as giants, these powerful beings that wreaked havoc on Earth. Imagine these massive creatures roaming the land, causing chaos. It's like something out of a monster movie, but with a biblical twist. The Nephilim are a testament to the consequences of the Watchers' actions, a living, breathing reminder of their disobedience. But Enoch, he's chosen by God to deliver a message to these fallen angels. Can you imagine being tasked with confronting these powerful beings? But Enoch, he's brave, he's righteous, and he journeys to deliver God's judgment. And it's during these journeys that Enoch gets these crazy visions, these glimpses into heaven and hell. He writes them all down, documenting these otherworldly experiences. The Book of Enoch is like a window into the divine, a glimpse into the cosmic struggle between good and evil. It's intense stuff, right? Alright, let's shift gears now and talk about the Epic of Gilgamesh. This is an ancient Mesopotamian poem, one of the oldest surviving pieces of literature, and it's got its own share of giants and otherworldly beings. In this epic, we come across the Anunnaki. Now, the Anunnaki are these powerful deities, and they play a major role in Sumerian mythology. They're like the big players in the cosmic drama, responsible for creating humanity. Imagine these godlike beings, shaping the world and everything in it. The Epic of Gilgamesh tells the story of King Gilgamesh, a legendary hero who goes on these epic quests. And along the way, he encounters the Anunnaki, seeking their wisdom and guidance. It's like this ancient hero's journey, with gods and monsters around every corner. But the Anunnaki, they're not always these benevolent beings. They can be fickle, they can be wrathful, and they don't always have humanity's best interests at heart. They're a reminder that even in the face of the divine, there's always a power struggle, a battle for control. One of the most famous stories in the Epic of Gilgamesh is his search for immortality. See, Gilgamesh, he's this powerful king, but he's also afraid of death. He wants to live forever, and he'll do anything to achieve that goal. So he embarks on this epic quest to find the secret to immortality. He faces all sorts of dangers, battles monsters, and even travels to the underworld. It's a journey filled with peril, but Gilgamesh, he's determined. He eventually meets Utnapishtim, the only man who's been granted immortality by the gods. But Utnapishtim tells Gilgamesh that his quest is futile, that immortality is reserved only for the gods. It's a harsh lesson for Gilgamesh, a reminder that even the greatest heroes are mortal. The Epic of Gilgamesh, it's a story about life, death, and the meaning of existence. It's about our place in the universe and our relationship with the divine. It's a timeless tale, and it still resonates with us today. All right, buckle up, because we're heading to ancient India now, to explore the epic world of the Mahabharata. This is like the granddaddy of all epics, filled with gods, heroes, and yes, giants and flying machines. First up, we've got the Danavas and Rakshasas. These beings are like the bad boys of Hindu mythology. They're often depicted as these powerful demonic entities, always causing trouble for the good guys. Think of them as the ultimate antagonists, always up to no good. The Danavas are often described as being born from the demon Kasyapa and his wives, while the Rakshasas are more like these shape-shifting, cannibalistic beings. They're both pretty intimidating, and they play a major role in the Mahabharata's epic battles. They represent the forces of chaos and destruction, always trying to disrupt the cosmic order. They're a reminder that even in a world of gods and heroes, there's always a dark side, a force that seeks to destroy everything. Now, aside from the epic battles and the gods and demons, the Mahabharata is also known for its descriptions of advanced technology, particularly these flying machines called Vimanas. Imagine ancient texts talking about flying chariots and aerial warfare. The Vimanas are described as these incredible flying machines. capable of traveling vast distances and even engaging in combat. They're often depicted as being piloted by gods and heroes, raining down fire and destruction upon their enemies. The descriptions of these Vimanas are incredibly detailed, with specific instructions on how to build them and even how to use them in battle. It's sparked a lot of debate among scholars, with some suggesting that these ancient texts might actually be describing real technology. Whether they were real or simply a product of imagination, the Vimanas in the Mahabharata represent the advanced technological prowess of this ancient civilization. It's a reminder that even thousands of years ago, humans were capable of imagining and perhaps even creating incredible things. Alright, moving on to another epic tale from ancient India, the Ramayana. This story centers around the battle between Rama, a divine prince, and the demon king, Ravana, who's known for his incredible strength, intelligence, and yes, you guessed it, massive size. Ravana is often depicted as a powerful, 10-headed giant, symbolizing his vast knowledge and might. Ravana wasn't just big and strong, he was also incredibly clever. He was a master of magic and sorcery, even managing to abduct Rama's wife, Sita. This dude was a serious threat, and it took all of Rama's cunning and divine powers to finally defeat him. The Ramayana isn't just a story about good versus evil, though. It explores themes of love, duty, and the consequences of desire. Ravana's story is a cautionary tale, reminding us that even the most powerful beings can be consumed by their own ambitions. He's a complex character, both terrifying and tragic, and his legacy continues to fascinate and inspire people all over the world. Now let's talk about the really cool part, the flying machines. Like the Mahabharata, the Ramayana also features these advanced vehicles called Vimanas. These weren't just your average chariots, mate. They're described as flying palaces, capable of incredible speeds and aerial maneuvers. Some accounts even suggest they could travel between worlds, which is like totally mind-blowing. Imagine a sky filled with these magnificent flying machines, engaged in epic battles, soaring through the clouds. The descriptions of the Vimanas in the Ramayana are so detailed that some people believe they were based on actual technology, lost to time. It's a fascinating idea, isn't it? Next up, we're heading to the icy lands of Norse mythology, where giants, known as Jotnar, play a huge role. These weren't your friendly neighborhood giants, though. The Jotnar were a race of powerful beings who often clashed with the gods, known as the Aesir. They were seen as forces of chaos and destruction, constantly challenging the order of the cosmos. One of the most famous Jotnar is Ymir, a primordial giant from whose body the world was created. Talk about a legacy, right? But don't think for a second that all Jotnar were mindless brutes. Some, like Loki, the trickster god, were known for their cunning and intelligence. Loki, despite being a member of the Aesir, was actually descended from giants, which just goes to show how intertwined these beings were in Norse mythology. Now, in Norse mythology, there's this big apocalyptic event called Ragnarok, basically the end of the world as they knew it. And guess who plays a major part in it? You got it, the Jotnar. They basically break free from their prison and unleash chaos upon the realms, leading to a final battle against the gods. Imagine a massive battle, gods and giants clashing, the earth trembling, the sky ablaze. It's a pretty intense picture, right? Ragnarok wasn't just about destruction, though. It was also about rebirth. After the battle, the world was supposed to be reborn anew, free from the old conflicts. The Jotnar, as much as they were feared, were an essential part of Norse cosmology, representing the untamed forces of nature and the cyclical nature of creation and destruction. Right, let's travel back to ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, and dive into Sumerian texts. These clay tablets, some of the oldest writing we've discovered, tell incredible stories of the Anunnaki, powerful beings who descended from the heavens. The Anunnaki were considered deities, associated with the sky, the earth, and the underworld. They played a significant role in Sumerian cosmology and were believed to have influenced the development of human civilization. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Anunnaki is their depiction as advanced beings with technology far beyond their time. Some interpretations of Sumerian texts suggest that the Anunnaki possessed incredible knowledge of astronomy, engineering, and even genetic manipulation. It's like something straight out of a science fiction movie, but there it is, recorded on ancient clay tablets thousands of years old. Now here's where it gets really interesting. According to some interpretations of Sumerian texts, humans were actually created by the Anunnaki. The story goes that they needed help with their work on Earth, so they genetically engineered humans from primitive beings. Imagine that being a product of alien engineering. Of course, these interpretations are debated by scholars, but it's a captivating narrative that has captured the imaginations of many. The idea that advanced beings from another world might have played a role in our own origins is a mind-blowing concept, and it's a testament to the enduring power of these ancient texts. The Sumerian tales of the Anunnaki offer a glimpse into a time when humans saw themselves as part of a larger cosmic drama, interacting with powerful beings from the heavens. It's a reminder that our fascination with the unknown, with the possibility of life beyond our own planet, has deep roots in human history. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're diving deep into the heart of Native American lore, exploring ancient stories passed down through generations. These tales speak of powerful beings, the Star People, who descended from the heavens, shaping the destiny of tribes across the Americas. Imagine a night sky ablaze with stars, more vibrant than you can imagine. Now picture these stars coming to life, transforming into celestial beings who decide to visit Earth. That's the kind of imagery we're dealing with in these legends. It's like something straight out of a Marvel movie, right? These stories, shrouded in mystery and wonder, offer glimpses into a time when the line between our world and the cosmos seemed much thinner. Some tribes believed the Star People were benevolent teachers, sharing wisdom and knowledge. Others whisper of their immense power and the profound impact they had on ancient civilizations. From the deserts of the Southwest to the forests of the East Coast, these tales echo with a sense of awe and wonder. They remind us that the universe is a vast and mysterious place, filled with possibilities that capture the imagination. So, buckle up, guys, as we journey into the heart of Native American mythology and uncover the secrets of the Star People. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Star People legends is their diversity. Just like the Avengers, each with their unique powers, different tribes have their own interpretations of these celestial beings. Some see them as ancestors, others as gods, and still others as powerful spirits who continue to watch over us. For example, the Cherokee tell of the Ani Yuntiqualaski, giant beings who lived on a floating island before descending to Earth. Meanwhile, the Hopi believed they were guided by Spider Woman, a deity associated with creation and wisdom who descended from the stars. These stories, passed down through generations, often served as cautionary tales, teaching moral lessons and explaining natural phenomena. They wove together the threads of history, spirituality, and the natural world, creating a rich tapestry of belief. But these narratives are more than just ancient myths. They offer a unique perspective on our place in the cosmos, reminding us that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. So, as we continue to explore the universe, both scientifically and through the power of storytelling, it's these ancient legends that remind us to keep looking up at the stars and wonder. Alright mates, let's dive into the Zoroastrian texts, specifically the Avesta. It's like their holy book, yeah? And in these ancient scriptures, we find these wicked beings called divs. Now, divs are basically like these giant, monstrous demons. I'm talking massive, intimidating creatures with a real nasty streak. They're everything good Zoroastrians, those who follow the teachings of the prophet Zoroaster, stand against. These divs are all about chaos, darkness, and generally stirring up trouble. Think of them as the ultimate bad guys, always trying to tempt people away from the path of good. The stories about divs are pretty wild. They're often depicted as having supernatural powers, like the ability to shapeshift or control the elements. Imagine a giant, fire-breathing demon suddenly transforming into a ferocious beast. That's the kind of crazy stuff we're talking about. What's interesting is that the divs are often linked to earlier deities who were worshipped before Zoroaster's time. It's like they represent this older, more chaotic force that Zoroastrianism sought to replace with order and righteousness. Now, while the texts don't always explicitly describe divs as giants, their monstrous and powerful nature definitely suggests they were something more than your average troublemakers. Plus, there are accounts of them being absolutely massive, towering over humans. Some scholars even believe that the divs might have been inspired by ancient memories of, you guessed it, real-life giants. Maybe these stories were a way of explaining away fossils or ancient structures that seemed too big for regular humans to have built. Think about it, right? You're an ancient civilization, and you stumble across a massive skeleton or a huge ancient ruin. You wouldn't immediately think, oh, that must have been a really big human. You'd probably think something more along the lines of, whoa, that must have been a giant, or that must be the work of something otherworldly. So, while we can't say for sure if the divs were actual giants, the possibility is definitely there. And that's what's so cool about these ancient texts. They leave so much open to interpretation, you know. They make you think, and they make you wonder. Okay, so we're moving on to Gnostic texts now. This is where things get a bit more, shall we say, out there. See, Gnosticism was this early Christian movement that had some pretty different beliefs from what became mainstream Christianity. They were all about seeking this special knowledge, this gnosis, to achieve spiritual enlightenment. And central to their beliefs were these beings called archons. Now, the archons were essentially like cosmic rulers, but not the benevolent kind. Imagine them as these powerful but flawed beings who were kind of responsible for creating the material world. But here's the catch. Gnostics believed that the material world was actually a flawed imitation of a higher spiritual realm. And guess what? The archons weren't too keen on humans figuring out the truth about this whole spiritual realm situation. They wanted to keep us trapped in the material world, ignorant and unaware of our true potential. Sounds a bit like a sci-fi movie plot, doesn't it? One of the most intriguing things about the archons is that they're often described in ways that sound strikingly similar to how we might describe extraterrestrials today. They were said to have strange appearances, advanced technology, and the ability to influence human minds. Section 2. Alien Parallels. So, were the archons aliens? Well, we can't say for sure, obviously. But the parallels are definitely interesting, right? The Gnostics believed that these beings came from the stars and possessed technology far beyond our own. They even described them as having these bizarre, otherworldly forms. One of the most famous archons is called Yaldabaoth, who's often depicted as having the body of a serpent and the face of a lion. Imagine that. I wouldn't want to bump into him in a dark alley, that's for sure. Now, some people believe that the Gnostics might have been onto something with their descriptions of the archons. Could they have been drawing inspiration from real-life encounters with extraterrestrial beings? It's a mind-blowing thought, isn't it? Whether you believe in aliens or not, the Gnostic texts offer a fascinating glimpse into how ancient cultures grappled with the idea of otherworldly beings and the nature of reality itself. As we've seen, the idea of giants and otherworldly beings spans across various cultures and texts. From the Nephilim of the Bible to the archons of Gnostic texts, these stories have captivated human imagination for centuries. Whether these tales are based on real encounters, ancient memories, or simply our fascination with the unknown, they remind us that the universe is a vast and mysterious place. There's so much we don't know, so much we have yet to discover. So the next time you look up at the stars, remember that you're looking at the same sky that inspired countless stories of giants, aliens, and other extraordinary beings. Keep an open mind, stay curious, and never stop exploring. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more intriguing explorations. Subscribe and embark on a journey where history converges. Hit the notification bell and join a community that values curiosity and knowledge.